From beasts that make sharks look like sardines to snakes the size of a bus, here are 9 terrifying creatures scarier than the Megalodon. Number 9. Thalattoacon. What would you do if you found a giant dinosaur skeleton of a shark that made the great white look like a sardine? This here is your specimen. Following the world's worst ever mass extinction, known as the End Permian event, during the Middle Triassic epoch around 245 million years ago, large land-dwelling reptiles began migrating to the sea and adapting to the aquatic life, marking the start of a time period that was rife with large apex marine predators. Included among them was a bust-sized marine reptile and ichthyosaur called Thalattoacon saurophagus. Based on a fossilized specimen discovered in Nevada in 1998 and officially described in 2013, the species was at least 28 feet, almost 9 meters long, according to National Geographic. Unlike most ichthyosaurs who had simple cone-shaped teeth, Thalattoacon was equipped with double-edged blade-like chompers, with its biggest teeth measuring 4 inches or 10 centimeters long. The creature's large head, which had huge eyes to go along with it, was roughly twice the size in ratio to its body compared to other ichthyosaurs. These characteristics likely made Thalattoacon an apex predator among ichthyosaurs, with scientists theorizing that it was the first ocean carnivore that evolved to feed on prey its own size. Its adaptability also suggests that marine ecosystems bounced back impressively fast after that massive extinction event, at least compared to the creatures on land. Number 8. Giganotosaurus. Do you ever wonder if there were any apex predators bigger than the infamous T-Rex? Here's one for you, the Giganotosaurus. Heard it straight from the man who discovered it. Known only from fragmentary remains, the Giganotosaurus genus consisted of at least one known species, the Giganotosaurus carolini, the largest meat-eating theropod dinosaur of the late Cretaceous period. That's right, it was the king in its own habitat. Discovered in 1993 and first described in a study 2 years later, these colossal creatures roamed modern-day Argentina between 98 and 97 million years ago. Measuring between 40 and 43 feet or between 12 and 13 meters long from head to tail, with its head alone measuring 5.2 feet or 1.6 meters long, Giganotosaurus slightly outranks the Tyrannosaurus rex among the biggest carnivorous dinosaurs. Scientists initially estimated the species' weight at 6.6 to 8.8 tons. More recent research suggests the Giganotosaurus was even larger, tipping the scale at up to 15 tons. With 2 large, strong legs that it walked upright on and a thin, pointed tail, Giganotosaurus was both strong and agile and was capable of maintaining good balance and making quick turns while running, according to Live Science. In addition to being larger than T-Rex, a 2001 study claims that it could also run faster, clocking in at up to 31 miles or 50 kilometers an hour. Giganotosaurus likely had 2 3-fingered hands equipped with sharp claws. It's fairly safe to say then that Giganotosaurus lacked natural predators and fed on herbivorous dinosaurs. Number 7. Liopleurodon. Consisting of 2 known species, the extinct Liopleurodon genus of marine reptiles included some of the mightiest marine creatures of all time. These apex predators lived in a shallow body of water in what is now France, starting around 165 million years ago during the late Jurassic period. Imagine finding one of these while you're out hunting for snails, or as they say in France, escargot. Like most pliosaurs, Liopleurodons had elongated heads, relatively short necks, thick torsos and long flipper-like limbs. L. ferox, the larger of the Liopleurodon species, likely grew between 16 and 23 feet or 5 to 7 meters long and weighed up to 10 tons, although the largest known specimen was probably over 33 feet or 10 meters long. That's right, it would have turned you into a quick snack if you wound up in its waters. An ambush predator, the Liopleurodon was a strong swimmer that was capable of quickly accelerating in pursuit of prey thanks to its 4 large flippers. Its forward-facing nostrils indicate that it had a superior sense of smell that came in handy for finding food. But this sea monster was not infallible despite its advantages, and the Liopleurodon and other plesiosaurs ultimately lost their battle for survival against a newer, more adept and deadlier group of reptiles called the mosasaurs by the start of the Cretaceous period around 150 million years ago. Number 6. Argentinosaurus. Discovered in 1987 on a farm in southwestern Argentina where it lived during the late Cretaceous period, the Argentinosaurus genus of sauropods represent one of the largest known land animals of all time. It hails from the diverse Titanosaur family, which consisted of humongous sauropods that existed on every known continent, and many of which thrived up until dinosaurs went extinct around 66 million years ago. Paleontologists can't seem to agree on exactly how big the creature was, with more generous estimates suggesting that Argentinosaurus was 100 to 130 feet or 30 to 40 meters long and weighed as much as 100 tons. Nobody knows for sure how large the dinosaur was because it's only known from fragmentary remains, leaving scientists tasked with making educated guesses based on more complete remains of smaller sauropods. Argentinosaurus grew slowly, taking up to 40 years to reach its maximum size. Based on what experts know about other titanosaurs, it probably laid between 10 and 15 eggs at a time, each measuring up to a foot or 30 centimeters in diameter. Given its size, Argentinosaurus was likely a slow mover, plodding along at a maximum of 5 miles or 8 kilometers an hour. This would have made the species vulnerable to the smaller but faster moving carnivores that it shared its territory with, like Giganotosaurus, which probably couldn't take it down one-on-one, but may have had the strength in numbers. And if they did kill one of these beasts, you can bet that their whole pack ate well for days. Argentinosaurus is just one candidate among several competitors for the title of largest land animal that ever lived, including Bruhithcaesaurus, an extinct sauropod from India, Futalonctosaurus, a herbivorous late Cretaceous titanosaur that lived in modern-day Argentina, and Dreadnoughtus, a supermassive sauropod that made breaking news after its discovery in 2014. Number 5. Basilosaurus. It wasn't just dinosaurs that make normal people cower in fear. Early ancestors of modern whales were also totally terrifying. Found throughout the Tethys Ocean and other ancient water bodies, the extinct Basilosaurus whale genus lived between 41.3 and 33.9 million years ago in the late Eocene epoch. These early marine mammals were members of a primitive group of cetaceans called Archaeoceti and were top predators in their environment. There are 2 known Basilosaurus species. Fossilized evidence of one, known as B. cetoides, was first discovered along the US Gulf Coast, with others being found throughout the eastern US. The other species, B. isis, has appeared in parts of North Africa, including Jordan, Egypt, Morocco and Tunisia, and possibly Antarctica. At up to 60 feet or 18 meters long, with a skull alone measuring as much as 3 feet or 1 meter, Basilosaurus may have been the largest creature of its time period. It had a bite force comparable to that of T-Rex. A study of the ancient whale's stomach contents revealed that it was indeed a formidable and fearsome force in its ecosystem, feasting on sharks and fish up to 20 inches or half a meter long. Bite marks on skull fossils belonging to smaller whales bear evidence that Basilosaurus also preyed upon other cetaceans. Basilosaurus likely went extinct around 34 million years ago during the Eocene-Oligocene extinction event, which was small compared to some of history's other extinctions, but saw the eradication of this and many other marine creatures, including the remaining Archaeoceti species. Number 4. Kronosaurus. These monstrosities inhabited the world's waters between 120 and 100 million years ago during the early Cretaceous period. Although scientists believe that the Kronosaurus may have had a worldwide presence, the fossilized remains of only 2 species have ever been found. The first, K. queenslandicus, was first discovered in northeastern Australia in 1899 and officially described in 1924. The other, K. boyacinus, was discovered in Colombia over 3/4 of a century later in 1977. Obviously, they're rare finds. At up to 36 feet or 9 meters long and weighing between 7 and 10 tons, these creatures rank among the largest known plesiosaurs. Bite marks found in the skull of the Australian plesiosaur Uromangosaurus shows that the fast-swimming Kronosaurus preyed on marine reptiles, including fellow plesiosaurs. But it did not fare any better than its relatives, who ultimately succumbed to better adapted, more vicious predators, including mosasaurs and sharks. Scientists believe it's possible for Kronosaurus fossils to turn up in places they haven't been found, including the western US, which was covered in a shallow body of water during the early Cretaceous period, and where other plesiosaurs have been discovered. So if you're out on a hike in Nevada, Utah, or Arizona, you could stumble upon the remnants of the massive sea beast. Number 3. Lacalcan aleocranianus. Earlier this year, scientists in Argentine Patagonia unearthed the well-preserved skull of a new carnivorous dinosaur species that wreaked havoc on the region around 85 million years ago, during the late Cretaceous epoch. Dubbed Lechalcon aleocranianus, it was one of several members of a group of meat-eating dinosaurs that dominated the South American landscape at the time, feasting on weaker prey. Measuring roughly 16 feet or 5 meters long and armed with huge claws and a 20-inch or 50-centimeter skull filled with sharp serrated teeth, L. aleocranianus was formidable in appearance even if it wasn't quite as large as some other carnivorous dinosaurs, like Tyrannosaurus rex and Giganotosaurus. It was also smaller than Phiovenata exoni, a fellow abelosaurid that was found just 2,300 feet or 700 meters away in March 2018. Much like modern predators who coexist in the same habitat, they probably competed with one another for food and occasionally fought and killed each other. These recent discoveries are not only helpful for understanding how utterly frightening the prehistoric world was, but how diverse and abundant abelosaurids were throughout Patagonia and more locally during what scientists call the dinosaurs' twilight period. How would you try to survive if you were alive during the terrifying world of the dinosaurs? It wouldn't be easy. But would you even try to find a way to avoid getting eaten? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. Then remember to subscribe to Epic Wildlife if you haven't already. Number 2. Mosasaurus. The extinct Mosasaurus genus of marine reptiles ruled the waters of modern-day North America and Europe between 82 and 66 million years ago during the late Cretaceous period. Their fossils often appear inland where bodies of water once existed amid higher sea levels, including the Great Interior Sea that covered a large portion of the American Midwest. Scientists believe that mosasaurs evolved from early Cretaceous terrestrial reptiles that resembled modern-day monitor lizards. An amphibious early version of the mosasaur, known as the Dallas lizard, Dallosaurus, and nicknamed the T-Rex of the ocean, had tiny feet and hands that enabled it to move both in water and on land, and which eventually evolved into fin-like limbs better adapted to a marine environment. The largest mosasaur specimens measured up to 60 feet or 18 meters long and weighed as much as 15 tons, although scientists are unsure of its exact size range. Resembling a crocodile with fins, it was a top predator and one of the deadliest marine reptiles of its day. Mosasaurs had a ferocious set of teeth suited for shredding prey like fish, birds, and other marine reptiles. A second set of teeth further inside the creature's mouth stopped prey from escaping during their terrifying final moments before being devoured. These fearsome sea monsters are blamed for eradicating at least 2 other reptile groups, including the ichthyosaurs and the plesiosaurs, by outcompeting them for food. But, much like the marine creatures they wiped out, mosasaurs were not invincible. If they hadn't gone extinct during the Cretaceous-Paleogene event that wiped out the dinosaurs, it's entirely possible that they would have lost out to smarter, faster, and more vicious ancient sharks. Number 1. Titanoboa. Between 60 and 58 million years ago, members of the extinct Titanoboa genus of unimaginably huge snakes lived in what is now northeastern Colombia. These utterly terrifying creatures came to dominate their tropical ecosystem just 6 million years after the Cretaceous-Paleogene extinction that wiped out the dinosaurs during the Paleocene epoch. At up to 45 feet or 13 meters long, roughly the length of a school bus, and weighing as much as 2,500 pounds, over 1,100 kilograms, that's the size of a small car, and with the highest part of its body measuring as high as a man's waist, Titanoboa ruled the jungle and ate pretty much anything it wanted, although it fed primarily on fish. The only known Titanoboa species is the largest snake ever discovered. It lived alongside other gargantuan prehistoric creatures, including crocodilians, turtles, and fish that would be considered abnormally huge today, in the now arid Cerrejón region that was once a lush tropical forest. At the time, the climate near the equator was much hotter and wetter than it is today, enabling cold-blooded creatures to grow much larger than they do now. Even today, the largest snakes and other reptiles live in tropical environments, while those further from the equator are smaller in size, according to Florida Museum vertebrate paleontologist Jonathan Bloch, who co-led the 2009 expedition that resulted in Titanoboa's discovery. Scientists are still trying to figure out exactly where the Titanoboa belongs on the evolutionary family tree. Thanks for watching. Which of these creatures do you think is scariest? If you'd like to learn about more terrifying prehistoric creatures, let me know in the comments below and be sure to subscribe. See you next time.